Hello and welcome back to the diverse discussions here in the Snippet 3 podcast. And today we have a very special guest, Carl King. Hello, Carl.
Hi, Joanna.
It's great to have you here with us. And Carl, may I ask you, from your perspective, how can the shipping industry effectively attract and integrate young talent while addressing generational differences to ensure knowledge transfer and continuity?
Yeah, this is a really great question. So, on my side, one of the things I'm constantly pushing is how we can use digital to be able to communicate to the next generation. It's how the next generation consume media. So I spent a lot of time working with maritime companies and effectively designing strategies that develop digital communication channels through social media using influencers, using creative content. And this is just one way of doing it. But when we talk about bridging the generational gap, so we can make sure that the transfer of knowledge is done so appropriately. I spoke once to a captain who was around the age of 65. So he was coming towards the back end of his career, and he said to me something really interesting. And I think this is something the industry can learn from. He said that there was a young junior who just came on board his ship, and the junior had a lot of interest in learning from the captain. He was constantly asking him questions. But the captain said, I wanted to be able to just figure out a way that I could mentor this guy. But what I realized over time was that he also has stuff to offer me. This
Mm.
captain had no idea how to use platforms like LinkedIn, for example, and it was something he was really interested in doing. So I think one of the things we can do, instead of constantly talking about mentoring, which I think is really important, we can actually talk about how both parties can benefit and receive information. So if a junior cadet comes on board, that junior cadet may have access and understanding of digital media that could be really useful for the captain, while the captain transfers knowledge to that junior cadet about how he can excel through his career as a seafarer. So I think actually looking at what both parties are missing and what can possibly make them a better person, better worker, I think understanding that gap and then bridging the differences, I think is a really cool way of being able to do it.
So basically, we should not see it in a siloed view. It's more of a two-way communication.
100% it's a two-way communication because I think everybody has something to offer. It might not necessarily be about that specific role, but if you look at that person from a macro perspective, a younger person typically will have skills that an older person will not, but that doesn't mean that they can't transfer those skills and become useful both ways. So the transition is 50-50 instead of being, just from one side. And I think that's
Mm.
the way to do it, understand what is it you're trying to acquire and then leverage that on both sides.
Amazing. And yes, I think we'll take this out as a conclusion that it's a two-way communication and not a one-way street. Thank you very much, Carl, for being here.
Thanks, Joanna.